those thoughts. How about that? Attitude, gratitude, baby. Just to get it out here today. About to drive across Houston, and it dawned on me. I have pitched the idea of his place supply and installation probably 60 times with little to no effect on the world. So I haven't put this out here. Okay, so it's like 2005. I wind up in Florida, and I'm working with a guy, and they're starting to talk about solar panels. Like some hippies have solar, but it ain't a thing yet, really. And there definitely was no. It was the bubbly good time on the internet, and there was no, doom and gloom. And there was a little bit to talk about climate change, but not really. It was pretty fresh at that time. Anyway, so I'm reading the Bible, and it said, perfect religion is taking care of widows and orphans in their time of need. Right? So I was like, all right, that seems like a good endeavor. And I had been witnessing and stuff like that a little bit, been reading, shared what I do. Hey, I had this vigor to be like, hey, man, this is cool. Check this out. Hey, do you know this? Check this out. Whatever it is, every little old scrap of basic goodness from the Bible, I would just tell you. A lot of times, people did not want to hear it, and I would tell them anyway. And that had been going on for a few years. And then I'm working on the roof or whatever like that. And one day I was looking at the canopy at a gas station, and I was like, well, why the hell did they spend all that money to put that roof on there? Well, they could have just framed it out, put solar panels across it, and the solar panels actually would be the canopy, creating a little bit of shade and a whole lot of electric. And you can put the electric directly into the fuel island. You know what I mean? So this is back before, I think, Tesla may have been thinking about it, but like the Tesla Roadster was in development. I mean, it's a small back. It's 20 years ago. Anyway, leave a cup of coffee for this one. Anyway, so I'm thinking about it and everything, and I had built some chicken houses. More importantly, I had worked with a guy named Paul Hamilton putting equipment in commercial chicken houses. So I knew a lot about how to make the curtains go up and down, water lines, feed track, shocker cable, put everything on a cable system with winches and pulleys to raise and lower everything. And then we did some stuff over for the University of Arkansas where they would lower the curtain on the side. It's just chicken wire, and then they lower it from the top down, let the heat out. They can raise it from the bottom up for fresh air and stuff like that. And it was to do research and analysis on the best way to heat, cool, and grow the chickens, and then the different types of chickens and all that. And of course, I hauled chickens in the semi with my dad. We had chickens in the yard. I mean, I know things about chickens I wish I did not know. Anyway, so the thought process in my head, I've been to jail a lot. So I'm just like, a little bit about industrial kitchens from being a trustee on occasion, right? So, and of course, read the Bible quite a bit, whatever. So I'm like, what if I built one of these chicken houses, and then instead of gable roof, or just, instead of a roof like this, just one angle. Make the angle match the longitude equivalent for optimal sun. You know what I mean? The further north you go, the steeper the roof gets, type of deal. And then an orphanage. You know what I mean? And then let the widows of the community stay there for free. They trade the electric for food and security type of deal. You know, I think I just said that twice. Anyway, and I came up with some that were good for the desert, some that were good for, I did one that was like, and I call it his place because it's his, you know. It was an H, and then the I is the little stick man, the little praise man. So the thought came to my mind, you know, to make these his place. But then that's like, at the time, like, you couldn't buy this stuff. So I was like, we need a supply and installation company. I was doing a lot of commercial roofs. So we would go to like ABC Supply. So with that thought process, and then here I was, a roofing crew, about 17 dudes. And I'm like, man, it would be easier, because we was in Florida, I was like, it would be easier to tear this roof off and just cover this whole flat roof with solar panels, right? And then where the panels butt up together, you put that little strip of butyl tape down, but however you say it, put that little strip down, and then you put that little piece of aluminum on there and tighten it down. Make sure you got a rubber washer on the screw head. It's real basic, and if you're not re-roofing a structure, you just frame it out with the metal, with the steel, and you get one of them magnet drills. It's like a drill press. It's got electromagnet on there. So you set that thing where it's supposed to be, right? And you get all your metal laid out. You can probably do it on the ground, but you set that drill on there where it's supposed to be, and kick that magnet on it. It holds it in place. You got the little crank handle, and you just drill a hole right there where it's supposed to have the hole to put the bracket for the panel. Then that one bracket holds two panels. Boom. Put that strip across there, stop the water. It's a roof. You know what I mean? And you can see through it, which is really cool. And later on in life, actually, worked with Harvest Solar over in Tulsa and built some stuff over there. Which you can go see today. Anyways, so I'm thinking about this. I'm like, okay, so like a 500 foot long, 500 foot by 80, one side, all solar panel, and then some inverters and stuff on the end, like what we would do in the egg houses. There was always a cooling room, and you put all your plumbing and electric and everything down on one end or whatever. So the thought process on this deal was you'd want to cook and do all your electric and plumbing in the center of the house. So you're just running feelers out one way or the other. You know what I mean? So you're not going, you know, all the way 500 foot. You know, your main vein for all your mechanical is in the middle. So you're only stretching, you know, 220 both ways. You know, 220 foot both ways, 20 foot mechanical room in the center of this outfit. So that was kind of the thinking. And then I thought, how am I going to do this or whatever? You know, we need a supply and installation. So I thought of a company, His Place Supply and Installation. Okay, the thought process is to buy all this stuff in bulk. You know what I mean? Or at least have it under contract bulk. Right? So you bring it in, and I was thinking over there by I worked at Port 33, right there on the Verdigris in Oklahoma, way long time ago. I was about 18, and that Verdigris, you can put everything on a barge, Verdigris to the Mississippi to the Gulf to the world. So you can go anywhere in the world now, right? So you have this building package with every nut, bolt, and screw. You got this 17-man crew. So you send the stuff. Once it touches down to the local whatever, crew shows up, puts it all together. Hallelujah, amen. Self-sustaining orphanage. Okay, now, who's going to pay for all this? Well, at the time, I was thinking thinking I could probably put this together and have this shell roof, commercial kitchen, yada yada, about $250,000, and depending on certain things. And today's it'd be $1 million easy today. Probably about $1.2 million per orphanage. But the thought process was, like, the Southern Baptist Association passes the hat, and and back then I was thinking individual churches take up a collection because they're always collecting for a building fund, right? So it's like, okay, instead of building a new church, let's build this self-sustaining orphanage and send it to wherever necessary. You know what I mean? And so, like, how am I gonna get this money to start this, buy up all this inventory, right? So the thought was is to get a house, right? So you get the house and then you sell it. I've built some houses before, right? So I was going to build a house, like a 5-bedroom house, roof it with solar panels, do the garage, like do like a single story, and then do a TPO roof, like a flat roof, and then you can put carpet or whatever you want over top of that, because it's just like walking across PVC. And yeah, so and then with the second story be the solar panels, so that's stopping all the stuff or whatever. But if there was a leak or whatever, it would just go to the other, then you do like a outdoor carpeting or like an AstroTurf or whatever for your second story, and then your bottom floor be all regular house, and then your garage build it out like a safe room, and to the safe room build it to spec for tornado, earthquake, and fire. You know what I mean? And then that checks just about all your boxes, right? And then you might even do like a basement, depending on the lay of the land type of deal. But my thought back then was to take where the frame rail is on a Ford Ranger, right? So like take the cab and the body off, and develop like a tray where you can slide this thing out. So like you flip down the back bumper, slide this tray out, take the batteries out one by one, set them on the charger, and then take the fresh batteries that been on the charger all day and put them back in the truck. So you're just swapping batteries over. You know what I mean? And this was like, I was thinking lead acid batteries. You know what I mean? Just a bunch of them. And then I was going to use the motor off of, basically for a washing machine, put one motor at each wheel, and use the 4-wheel drive parts for the front end, and do the same thing on the back. So you have like a 4-wheel steer, 4-motor, electric Ford Ranger. And then do another one that's like an SUV, like a Ford Escape. I don't even think Escapes had come out yet. Anyway, and just Ford Ranger, because I mean it's a Ford Ranger, like, hey, it's actually a Boston truck, and they're super reliable. Anyway, and parts were readily available at the time. So like flip this thing down, slide the tray out, unplug the stuff, the terminals, set the batteries over here, take these batteries, set them over here, and you can do some type of tail finger, automated deal. Nowadays, it'd just be like one battery. You just take like the battery out, set it on the tender, hook this thing to the other one, and put it back in the truck. Anyway, the thought was to swap the batteries, and then sell the house with the truck. The thought was buy a house or whatever like that, build up my credit and then refinance to buy 100 acres, and then build out this 100 acres with 20 5-acre sections with these badass houses, right? And build like a community, do like the roads and everything, like total land development type of thing, and then do it somewhere over, like Bristow, Oklahoma is like halfway from Tulsa to Oklahoma City. So you got, people with money going both places. You know what I mean? It's kind of in the middle, kind of country, and a lot of natural gas out there, right? So put a natural gas well, put a water well, right? So now you can run your appliances and stuff like that. You got your electric Ford Ranger, then you got your Ford F-250 with a 300 straight 6 propane power. And you can change the orifices to run off natural gas, put your dryer and tank pressurizer right there in a skid form right there at the wellhead and produce your own natural gas. Send some of that natural gas in the house, so you got your heat and your stove and stuff like that, so you can cook and everything like that. Your grill out back, you know what I mean? You just hit the step, whoosh, and boom, there we go, type of deal. You know, all your natural gas goodness. So you got the 3/4 ton truck. You know, it's gutless in comparison to like a freaking, you know, Cummins, but it'll do the job. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so you got the house, 2 vehicles, you know, ultimate garage, safe room, apparatus, potentially a basement, and then sell off 1 or 2 of these houses. So like mortgage the house, sell the house, buy the land. Mortgage the land to build the first house and some of the road and some of the infrastructure, and then, you know, drill some wells. You know what I mean? And outfit where the houses are based off where the wells drill. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so now back then I was thinking 700,000 on average per house. Okay. The house that I'm talking about nowadays, I mean, this is $1 million house that millionaires want, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, this was before, you know, the whole bug out thing was cool and doomsday preppers and all this kind of stuff. None of this was around. This was just me thinking, you know, how can I do this deal? You know what I mean? And I seen a guy from the internet this morning, and he was talking about a vision board. Okay, I don't have a board, but I've had this vision in my head for a long time, with a lot of time to think about it, right? I know I've got the details down to nuance level, but like, even back then, I was thinking, you know, do these houses and then sell off the community, use that money to, well, pick my neighbors, number one, and then number two, use this to do the installation company. Now, the installation company, it'd be on the other side of Tulsa, back over by the burgers, right? So there's a little separation from Bristow to Port 33, or there's another port there. It slips my mind at the moment. Port of Catoosa. Okay? So with all that, you know, I'd have a little bit of a drive back and forth, because I like that, you know, you got the coffee, you get in the truck, you're going from A to B, and you're considering, well, I can do this, I can do that, blah, 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 this and that. And one of my guys one time on the way to go roof a house, he's like, okay, you said all that, so that's what we're not doing. So when we get there, you'll see something else, that's what we'll do. I was like, man, you're right, I do that. But I had already run out 7 or 8 scenarios of, you know, this is day 3 of this remodel. I need to get you going here and this going there, whatever else like that. Well, maybe we can do this, maybe we can do that. And then when I get there, I look at what's going on. I'm standing there in the flesh, and I'm like, here's this, here's that. Obviously, these things jump out. And I've already ran 7 scenarios in my head on the way to work. And, of course, feed the guys breakfast. That's how you always get. If you want a construction guy to show up, or you want to hold some type of event, like a church event or something like that, make sure there's food involved. Feed them. Nothing brings a Christian to work more than free food. Free food is real good. And then like if you got construction guys that are dealing with addiction and stuff, they'll get out of bed just because they're hungry type of deal. So that's real good to know. Always feed breakfast. Always. Anyway. And my thing's always been like, I want to lift up nobody. Because nobody cares. And when you do it for the least of these, you're doing it for Jesus himself. So that is a major why you want to use the guttermost and take them to the utmost. And that's investment you cannot beat. That's investment you cannot beat. Anyway, okay, so I was going to build out these houses and everything else like that. Pick my neighbors. Somehow, like, one of these 20 houses would end up being mine, and the other 19 neighbors would be like-minded, and yeah, that'd be cool. And one of the houses being mine would specifically be for me to have a place if everything else quit. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't plan on living there. You know what I mean? I have houses and places to live now, and I live in the truck. Like, I'm a goer. I'm a doer. It's the go spell. Not to come over here. I'm supposed to go to them. If they had the faculties about them to come visit me so I can tell them about the Bible, well, they would already be reading the Bible, and we wouldn't need to talk because they would know more than me. I'm going to see to the ones that need a doctor. Anyway, so sell them off, everything else like that. Buy the land over there, and there's actually a place over there now that does buildings and stuff. You know what I mean? And I found another place over, you're gonna love this, Halls Valley. Halls Valley, Oklahoma. You come back east of there, maybe 20 minutes, and there's a place over there that's got like buildings and rolling hills, and there's oil and natural gas wells over there too. So another potential spot. That would be further to do the transport to the barge type of deal though. So the Port of Catoosa and the Port 33. It used to be a Johnston's port. I don't know what they call it now. But it's real good. It's real good. And that's a good spot. So anyway, now we got every part, every piece that we need, and to build these self-sustaining orphanages. Okay, so as I'm thinking this thing out, how to do this or whatever, I thought about, nobody wants the cookie cutter situation, right? Did it cross my mind, like, as I became a truck driver, okay, you see these strip malls, right? And I was working with trucking pros up there in Wisconsin, and I said, do you own this building? He said, no. I said, well, build you one. He said, why is that? I said, because you can have your office and meet your needs to run your trucking outfit, and then just put like 3 more spots in here like a strip mall and rent that stuff out. Okay, then if you're building on an angle, like say your angle's like this, the high side could be a warehouse, and the low side could be a strip mall. So you got a gas station on the corner, because that makes a lot of sense. And then you enter in, and then you got office, you got like a, nails and salon, and, just strip mall stuff. So you got gas station on the corner, small businesses, and then on this end down here is a, warehouse, shipping, logistics, whatever, a manufacturing company, whatever. And then on the back side of this building where it's tall, that's where you put all your warehouse stuff. So the trucks come in around the back, and then they go back out. And then the cars come in this way, and they do whatever, and they can go back out. And you can have it where it loops, whatever, makes sense. There again, laying the land, determining the situation. And that's what I realized, like, if we built every strip mall like this, We would have the strip mall, we would have the warehousing, everything. The roof is the solar panels. They're using the electricity right there on the spot. During the day, the excess is going into the grid. And during the night, they're pulling off the grid. So all this makes a lot of sense because there's no major need for transmission from, a field full of solar panels, and now you can't have a garden. You can't have cows out there because they'll tear shit up. You know what I mean? And then it dawns on me, like, why the hell you got a whole solar field in Kentucky that's right there on the ground? Raise that son of a bitch up. Make it a roof. And then, like, let the grass grow and let the cows eat. You know what I mean? Pave the parking lot. Let semi-trucks park there. Charge for parking. You know what I mean? And now we're getting into all this stuff about, all these electric trucks and cars and Teslas and everything else like that. Well, if every roof in America was covered with solar, you know what I mean? You can go to the gas station. There's 4 or 5 people getting gas. On either end is a place to plug into the awning on the gas station, right? And I'm thinking about, that's his commercial space. And then it's like his safe space, where you basically build the county jail, because, like, it's freaking tough. Like, if it's really shit hit the fan, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, because I've been hearing, since before Y2K, I've been hearing them say stuff about end of the world, right? And my dad was Vietnam, and I grew up at the end of the Trail of Tears. So all the Indians are like, don't trust the government. They can come in here and try to kill us all any minute. So, I had a while to think about it. Now, I'm going to say I considered living in the woods without power, electric, or a place, any shelter. I think the first time I considered that, I was 4 or 5 years old. So I've literally thought, how am I going to make it through the day with nothing but my faculties for 40 years? You know what I mean? And I'm still here. So, anyway. So then I realized that this stuff can be used for the military. You know what I'm saying? So you got this, solar array set up, and then just pack everything in a Connex box. You know what I mean? Throw it on a truck, train. All your travel is complete once you get it in a shipping container. You know what I mean? And so that's enormous right there. That is the milestone. Okay, so we got this basically a county jail or fortress in a series of Connex boxes, shipping containers. A lot of people don't know what a Connex box is. Anyway, so you got so as soon as you get there, and this crew, you can train like the Army Corps of Engineers how to set this thing up, and you can set it up anywhere. You know what I mean? And you don't have to doze the land and everything else like that or whatever. You can just do it like a pole barn. You know what I mean? You can go out there and drill a hole in the ground and set your posts. And do it with metal, do it with wood, whatever you want to do. And have this thing where just go at it like the Mennonites, like the Amish. How they raise a barn in one day. You just raise a fortress in one day, anywhere in the whole world. And then, like, if it's going to be a strip mall, and they're building new overpasses and all sort of kind of stuff like that, go in there and be like, okay, well, you're doing it like this or whatever. How about we do this, that, this, and that, and do these commercial deals where the shopping and commerce is in the front, warehouse space available in the back. Now, if you just own this property and you're just managing this deal, you're collecting rent from gas station on the corner, Sally's Beauty Supply, Lisa's hair care and salon, and, someplace that does taxes, whatever, strip malls type stuff. Then on the end, you got, big guy logistics, you know what I mean? And he's got part of the warehouse. But it's a big enough building, you got 2 warehouses there. And the other one, you got somebody in there that's just like a Minuteman Press. And they're back there actively doing, making signs, lithography, lithographics, whatever that is. You know what I mean? Manufacturing, whatever. You got some guy that's just got like 6 CNC machine, and he's just making like bearings for freaking cattle trailer or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And dude, it makes so much sense. It makes so much. That's what dawned on me. It's like, this can really change the world. It can really change the whole world in the way that we do stuff. And it ain't getting nobody's way really, because it's already stuff that people are going to do already. You know what I mean? It's already going to be. They're going to have these strip malls. They're already going to be, the ability to retrofit this stuff. So anyway, and then you can build a whole new industry on top of that by put these like a rubber bladder, and you can do underneath, or you can have it set up like an awning on an RV, so this thing can unroll over the top and be aired up like a bicycle inner tube. And when the hailstorm comes or bad weather, you just flip the switch. When the whatever system turns on the emergency alert system, this thing just rolls out and just airs up. You know what I mean? And then you can have a different one that can roll out that's smaller, and it's made of rubber, but built like, or some kind of composite, but just make it black and have it where it heats water. So your water heater, you know what I mean? And you can be gravity fed and all that, catch your rainwater or whatever you want to do. So you can protect your panels from the top with an air bladder, and then you can heat your water and stuff. But then if something happens and there's a fire, well, once that burns through, it'll burn through your water system, and your water system will spring a leak and put the fire out. You know what I mean? So it's like a full system. Okay, let's see here. Go through this inspection deal. I don't know if these people, I guess they're busy. They're inspecting that guy. I'm rolling through. He looked nervous. One of them hotshot guys getting inspected. I'm over here in Texas now. Okay, so anyway, I mean that system right there, like just making an air bladder and a water heater, you know what I mean? You could be living in a tiny house. You could have a Chevy 3500 Express van with a solar system on the top that heats water and has an air bladder for hailstorms. You know what I mean? And that air bladder thing on the awning, that thing can just puff out across the whole thing and air up. And of course, when the rocks hit it, they'll bounce off or whatever. But it can come off at either side, and yeah, you can have a curtain down on one side and have a shower outside. You know what I mean? And have privacy and all that kind of stuff. So the just scale of this whole thing, it just blows my mind. And I'm just like, oh God, why are you telling me this stuff? Like, how can I do it? At the time, dude, I was running a roofing crew on the run. I didn't even have a driver's license. I was on the run with a felony warrant. I was feloniously poor. You know what I mean? And even if I paid them, they were still gonna send me to prison. You know what I mean? And so I was just like, you know, had to do what I had to do. Anyway, so I adopted the thought of I can't do this without God, and and it was like, yeah. At first I'm like, how can I honor God? You know, widows and orphans type of deal. And then I'm just like, His will be done on earth as it is in heaven. You know what I mean? And He put all these resources and everything here for us right here, and everything we need is in the earth already. So like you got farming and mining. That's the only two industries. Everything else is a job. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, if everybody acted like Jesus, it would be great. So like, how can I have His will be done? You know what I mean? And I just, man, it's so much. It's so much. And I adopted the I don't want to say banner, and it's just like, it's like a calling, it's like I'm far beyond driven, but in a good way. Like the phrase is, take over the earth for Jesus. You know what I mean? So Satan stole from Adam, and somehow or another, if you go back far enough, I'm a descendant of Adam. Right? For the most part. I don't know, part of me might be plastic, I guess. You know, they say that there's a lot of plastic in our scrotums these days. So, I might be nuts. You never know. So, anyway, in my quest to do all that, like it kind of just got shelved. It's kind of just like on the back burner type of deal. You know, then I start seeing these people on the thing and I just start juicing them up. You know what I mean? It's like, if I'm going to take over the earth for Jesus, I'm going to really need to tighten up my game. I just step out in faith to conquer the earth. It's like Pinky and the Brain. What are you trying to do today, Brain? Try to take over the world. You know what I mean? I took this shit to heart, boys. For real. Like, for real. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want to do. Like, when I see somebody lied to, hurting, whatever like that, the spirit behind what caused that to happen, I want to kill it. I want to subdue it and make it wait until Judgment Day for God to send it in judgment. There's a statement where they say, I don't care where you go, but you can't stay here. And there's this guy was talking about cast out demons or whatever, and he said that. And I was like, no. Get out, be bound over, and wait for judgment. That's kind of where I'm at with all this. So I'm just like, if I try to do this, they're going to kill me. You know what I mean? And some of this stuff came on later, but I realized that if I actually tried to do this, that the people of Earth would attack me. But even then, it's the spirit behind it. Okay? And our spiritual warfare type stuff starts kicking in and everything else like that. And it turns out, about the best thing I can do is sing praise and worship. Sing praise and worship. And just let patience have its perfect work, and I will be complete, lacking nothing. And He put this vision in my head and in my heart. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, for me, now, listen, you know, with everything I just said, for me, I see this thing and it's just like, I see what's going on with, you know, there's Trump talking about new golden age and all this other kind of stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I remember I read where a good man said, you can do anything if you don't care who gets the credit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, cool, I'll just like put my full effort into this deal for free. And like, I've roofed a house for free before. You know what I mean? And driving around going in and doing is a lot easier than roofing a house. Well, a lot easier. And then because I'm driving around with this big ass truck, with a bunch of stuff in the back. They give me enough money to live. So I'm not even, like, if I get pulled over, the cop just talks to me. He don't even take me to jail. And then, like, I've been working this bank system. I'll tell you how dedicated that man is. I recently got a $28,000 loan to consolidate credit so I'd have availability to give to the poor. Like, I'm overextended. My debt, what would you call it? My total debt. My total debt 3 years ago was $306,000. I've been making after taxes $80,000-ish. 3 years, never missed a payment on nothing, and I think the last time I looked, it said my total debt was $309,000. So I'm in debt $3,000. I'm losing about $1,000 a year on this deal, but everything's unsecured debt except the house, and the owed on the house keeps going down. And now I've learned some of this new financing stuff about open-ended mortgage type of stuff. You know what I mean? And being able to pull money out, pull your equity out without going through the mortgage process again. So I could go through this process one time, and then my property's at 634. And I only owe like $240 on it, right? And I got these other loans or whatever like that. But all my hard assets, except for Unit T, are paid for. And then there's some other stuff in other places, but they got debts and stuff too. But it's not technically, it's under my control, but it's not in my name because I living a life as a thug till the damn die, whatever. Back in the day, you know, got everything in my mama's name. Anyway, that's a song. If you know that song. Old school caddy. Let's say old school caddy with a diamond in the back. Ain't them fools with the pimped out Gucci suits. Anyway, I used to listen a little bit of music, you know what I'm saying? I mean, anyways. So that's his place supply and installation in a way to, literally take over the earth for Jesus via, practical everyday stuff. And, it's moving that away. And I see how things are progressing and stuff like that, everything. And I see the things with like the solar shingle panels and stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, I've built a few bunkers and stuff like that, and you're way better off unless the grid goes down. Like if you're in suburban, if you live in a cul-de-sac, you're so much better off to put your battery money into more panels. You know what I mean? Because the replacement of the batteries every so often and blah, blah, blah. It's just this whole other side. You know what I mean? And then, like, even if you just have the batteries and don't ever charge them, they're still going to go bad. You know what I mean? So, for me, I always thought it'd be better to generate. So, the latest iteration of in Skippy's world, what would I do? The vast mindset of a dreamer, inspired by God. Like, what does it take to process oil? Like, the strategic oil reserve is oil. So, like, the ultimate prepper gadgetry, if you really wanted to get collected off of stuff, a generator and just enough fuel to start the process of converting oil to diesel fuel. Well, the byproducts being gasoline. Then you just buy up these old gas stations that are out of business. They're always like too far from town to like have a decent price, and then like the security sucks. You know what I mean? So they have like robberies and stuff like that or whatever, or like the main strip of town moved over here. There was a bypass put in, and now old Earl went out of business type of deal. Those gas stations, dude. And nobody's thinking about this yet, right? So if you got that, and then they probably have fuel tanks. Fill the fuel tanks full of crude oil. Crude oil is, what, $100 a barrel? So you get this semi-truck that pulls straight off the well, comes over to your gas station, puts it in the tank, and then inside your closed down gas station, you start your little flea market and, sell, crocheted, like you use a skeety yarn and copper wire. Find your local tweaker, tell them that you'll buy the copper wire, have another tweaker, spin it with the yarn, give it to grandma, have grandma knit sock hats, and the tinfoil hat company is born, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then you got that in your old gas station type of deal. You know what I mean? All the gas stations are kind of in strategic locations, especially the ones that shut down. You know what I mean? And like at some point before this great innovation, it made a lot of sense logistically for that store that closed to be there, right? So when or if SHTF and Major Town USA is not viable, those little spots are exactly where the horse riding folk need to be. Okay? So then, like, we need a crank start freaking diesel, 1950s tractor. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. Let's just bring back what was good. Very, very classic stance. But if the average prepper group bought the gas station, filled it with the crude oil, had the ability to refine the diesel fuel to run the tractor, you're set. You're set. All you gotta do is secure it. You know what I mean? But every prepper group community thing, I've never heard a single person say, we need to refine oil for this 5.9 Cummins 5-speed, 98 Dodge pickup. Some people hate the Dodge. I can't blame them. I really can't. But the 5.9 Cummins 5-speed is a work of art. And the 300 straight 6x4, indeed. So, anyway, welcome to Skippy's world, where we just use stuff that's already here, and it makes sense. Now, how's a man going to do all this? How's a man going to do all this? Well, good begets good. You got to have the vision first, right? You got to be able to see it. You know what I mean? To be like, okay, this is this, this is that. One of these days, but not yet. It's like I'm set apart out in this truck. You know what I mean? I don't get to go home. I don't get to go to the creek. I don't get to enjoy recreation. I basically just work until I have a psychotic episode and quit my job, and then I'm just like fooey on all this way more colorful speech. Everybody can kiss my grits. They just quit. A week later, I'm like, hey, sorry about that. I'm back in the truck driving again, right? I tell somebody here a while back, I think I said this before. You know what? Maybe I should schedule a vacation before I have a psychotic episode and quit my job for 10 days. generally come back within about 7 days. Perhaps I should schedule that. Oh, it's one of the wild thoughts. And all these thoughts and stuff, like, man, I see it coming. I see it coming about. And then, like, I'm thinking about a trucking company, and I'm like, well, I'd had to this, I'd had to that, whatever. Well, like Kenworth's my favorite truck, right? Then I think about where I'm at. I drive out, come back, get checked. You know what I mean? It's like the perfect setup. I don't have to do all the paperwork and stuff. They ask me where I want to go, type of deal. I'm just like, hey, whatever. You know what I mean? Try to be real flexible. Just, I ain't working on the Sabbath. You know? So, that's I was considering all that and everything, and I was like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I'm watching this entrepreneur stuff, and you know, building a business and running a company. It's like, dude, I don't need those. I don't need the pressure of 22 families depending upon me to make this decision appropriately, correctly, with the right timing, and then, like, you know, pray the government doesn't change the rules of the game halfway through my process. Well, if I do this, then that, I'll build this, then that. Capitalize here, take this leap, then go. Halfway through the deal, Uncle Sam comes along, just kicks all the blocks out of your Lego pile. You know, it's Uncle Sam and the road pullers. Sons of bitches. Anyway, yeah, that's all. That's all amazing. And then, like, since I don't want that, so like I'm driving along, and this is how good God is. This is how good God is. Just bring it full circle. I'll shut it down. It's been an hour. I haven't made a long hour video in a while, so I guess you guys were due. Okay, so God knows in my heart I don't want the hassle. I don't want to deal with it, right? I don't, but I enjoy driving, and I want to hang out with God. So I'm driving, and I'm pretty much just talking to God all day, all time, and it's perfect for me. And I feel so honored that He would give me that. You know what I mean? And then by patience and a lack of greed, like, I realize the more stuff I have, the more that I have to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, for real. I'm not kidding you at all. Anybody that's ever owned a homestead and lived there with his family knows the full scope of busy. You know what I mean? And I like being busy. I like doing stuff. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's kind of hard to catch me not doing three things at the same time. Truth be told. But man, I really like music. I like driving. You know what I'm saying? I like the praise and worship, and I like to try to convey His ways to other people. You know what I mean? And you're the treasure I want to lay up in heaven. You. When I say go get them, like, I want you to see that I'm trying to go out here and get them. You know what I mean? And I want to serve you in your going. I want to serve you in your doing. And I want to help you in any way I can. And I don't know who's going to watch this. You know what I'm saying? But I trust God. Like, I fully trust God. People are like, oh, if you're going to do this, then it might be that. Like, one time somebody said, you know, if you keep making videos like this, they're going to kill you. And I was like, dude, what a way to go. Like, I actually got excited. I was like, sweet. To die for, I mean, like, the ultimate, like, Jesus died for me. Like, I owe Him my life. Like, I'm living for Him. It says in the Bible, the ones that didn't even see but heard about it will do greater things than these. You know what I'm saying? I want to be that guy. Can I be that guy, God? That's my prayer. Lord, I pray that I can be the guy that does greater than Jesus. Let me be your hands and feet in that deal. You know what I mean? Let's just set some small goals here. Let's take over the earth for Jesus. You know what I mean? Like he did his thing and he walked down his path. Lord, let me take the steps. Let me be the hands and feet. Let me do my section appropriately in complete obedience. And if valor need be, give me the courage to do it afraid. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the funniest part is because, like, I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie. So when you're coming around that corner and you start sliding and you get that feeling, I get that feeling too. But I like that feeling. I enjoy that. That is my friend. So, you know, and then like if they kill me, I'm going to heaven. So do me a favor. And guess what? If not, it's all some kind of hoax. We're all just taking a dirt nap, so it don't matter anyway. I mean, it's either real or it's not. The guy said, he said, God's either real or he's not. And he said, it's terrifying both ways. He said, one way, God's not real. We're on a rock flying through space. He said, you know, turning at 1,000 miles an hour, and then we're going in a spiral type of thing, and then the solar system's moving through the galaxy, and the galaxy's moving through the universe. He says all these enormous speeds and measurements of movement. And nobody's driving. That's terrifying. It's terrifying. That thought is terrifying. And you don't get your car. I think the lowest you can set the cruise is about 35, right? You can set it at 40. Get in the back seat, just ride it out. That's what the earth is doing. If God's not real, that is terrifying. You can't learn to drive with a cougar in the car. Yeah, Ricky Bobby. Anyway, help me Tom Cruise. But if he is real, and I believe he is, he created all this stuff, and you got to get right with him. You know what I mean? So in my quest to get right, like, to me, like, salvation is this enormous thing. Like, it's the biggest and the smallest at the same time. So, like, I don't want to go to hell, and then I want to act appropriately and stuff like that, and I want to please God and stuff like that or whatever, and I want to take over the earth for Jesus. Right? But that scale can flip, just like an hourglass. Like, the most I can do is take over the earth for Jesus and, you know, do it in his way and in his timing, and then, like, you know, do all this other stuff, and then salvation, that's like the most basic. That's like the first step. So one way it's steps up to take over the earth, and then the other way, it's like steps to not go to hell. You know what I mean? It's like an hourglass. I need to do that. I think I need to make an hourglass as a logo. Write that down. Okay, Skip. So, like sands through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives. Anyway, I got another deal for to purify water using the waves of the ocean. Like, I engineered that one time too. Wrote that down. I'll give that away 6 or 7 times. Nobody's done it. What do they call Archimedes Tower or something like that? And yeah, maybe I'll do a different video on that one of these days. Anyway, you know, I guess this is technically a drop in the bucket and a description of the bucket itself. And you know, just drive around. It's just a Thursday morning for the job with the skipper. This is your host, Skip Eponymous, with Hallelujah. Goodness. I'm going to get off here. Rock out. Enjoy your day. Go get them.